Hi, so in this video I'm going to overview the material library, do a walkthrough of it, and demo features related to it. So the way that you locate to the library is once you log in and are at the home page of the software, you go to the upper right hand menu and you'll see library listed here. It currently is an experimental feature, so you do need to go into your profile and enable this feature before it will show up in the menu. So that would be by going to your profile, scrolling all the way down, seeing the list of experimental features, and enabling the material library feature. All right, so once you select the library, it will bring you to this page, which is the library page. You'll go ahead and select a category. I've selected the buffer category, and these categories are the categories for the materials, and they map to the categories that exist today in the material records as we know them. So this is a list of the buffers that I have preloaded in the library. And so the reason why we have the library is that it provides a higher level of management of materials that reflects realistic workflows that occur outside of QbDVision, which we don't have in the software today. So materials as they exist today exist only at the project level, but what happens, when one material is used in multiple instances across projects? Even though it's the same material, today you have to manage those records independently. So if you know of a change to a material, then you have to go into each record and add that change or make that change yourself. With library material now, you're pulling out the materials and the list of materials separately from the projects and processes, and that's what's done today. So when you're making, a drug substance or drug product, when you're about to run an experiment, what you do is you figure out what materials do you need, and you see, okay, do we have those materials on site? If not, then you need to order that material from the supplier, and the supplier will send you probably more material than you need, or you'll order more material than you need for your project or process, and they send you information related and inherent to the material itself. And so that's the information that we want to manage outside and at the higher level above the projects and processes and the specific use cases for that material. Right, so as you can see, we have the different fields within this table. So you have the used in projects. This column will show you where that material is used within your projects and processes. So if you go ahead and click that down arrow, what you see is you have the project name, so Aging Master Cell Bank. You have the process name, default process, and the 2 shows you the number of instances that the material is used in within that process. So you have passage 2 and passage 1, which refers to unit operations. A second project that this material is used in is the aging plasmid. It's used in the default process and used one time in the transfection unit operation. These IDs here are the IDs of the material record that exists in the project. Okay, and then you can have and specify a relationship between the record or the material that exists at the project level and the library, right? So what relationship does that record have? So if you specify synced, what that means is that the project record is going to pull information from that synced library material. So the name, the description, the category, there are certain fields and certain cards within the material record that we know today that will be pulled in. This will help with standardization of naming, kind of global governance, and also help if there are any changes that need to be made to the material across the board. This helps so that you only have to make the change once at the library record, and that will propagate through to all the instances that the material is used within your projects if those records are synced. You can also have a linked material or a linked project material to the library. And so what that means is that there is a relationship between the two, and the version histories track. However, the information within the records are not the same. So you can change the information in the library material record without that overriding the information that exists at the project level for a linked project material. And then the third option is to have no relationship, which means that the material exists only in the project and doesn't exist in the library. And that's what we refer to as an orphan material, if you hear us say that. So that exists only at the project level. Ideally, what we would want is, if that happens, we would want to create a material in the library for that material to be synced or linked with. Right, so you also have other columns: the supplier, material or part qualified, the supplier part number, the internal part number, effective date and expiration date, as well as if the material is GMP or not. You can sort and filter any of these columns, and you can also add in more information. So in creating a material library, what we did is we essentially pulled out fields from the material record as it exists today, and we pulled that out to a higher level, so the fields that should have been pulled to a higher level. However, at the project material record that exists in the project, that still has fields for information that is specific to product and process requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the library record looks like. It looks very similar to the material record that we know today. The library material record is referenced by MTL versus an MTP. And you can see we have the name, the category, GMP description, source documents. We have material specifications. So these are specifications or characteristics of the material that the supplier will dictate and share. Usually these are your product and process requirements are typically in a narrower range than the material specifications. With this, what's going to happen is that the information on the COA has information related to the material specifications, and so we are going to move COAs to the library level. You also have the qualification card, regulatory information, properties of the material, and references and standards. So again, this is managed at the library level, this information, only if the material within the project is synced or linked. In those cases, in the synced case, this information, the name, the category, GMP description, all of this field information will overwrite the material record at the project level. Okay, so the way to locate to that project material is to scroll through in the used in projects. So let me scroll through to the license buffer, and I will go ahead and select this arrow. This will pull up the instance in which the material is used within the process or within a project and process. Okay, so this is the material record kind of as we know today, except it's transformed. So what's different here is that you have this bar at the top that shows you the relationship and gives you options with the library. So we can see that this material is currently synced with the library. This is the library material name and the version. A quick note is that the library material needs to be approved in order to be used within a project and process. If you click this menu here, you can go ahead and see the options for how to change that relationship with the library. So you can swap materials if you want to change the library material that this project material is connected with. So basically, if you change the material in terms of using a GMP material, or if you change to use a powder formulation versus liquid, that's going to be, those three instances will be different materials in the library level. You can also unsync the record to the library, and you can unlink it as well. Right? And then when we scroll through, you can see it's the same information, but some of the information is grayed out. So the grayed out information, or the information in the grayed boxes, that's information that's being pulled down from the library. So that cannot be edited here at the project level. What you would have to do is go back to the library record and edit that information there. However, there are also other fields that are specific to the project and process and the specific use for that material. And those are edited here at the within the project. This is a repeated description, known bug, and we're working on it. Then you have the quantity, which is specific to the project and process, and then qualification, regulatory information, properties, that's all being pulled down from the library. Again, that's only if it's synced. If it's linked, you can manage those records. They're connected and the version histories are connected. However, the information, let's say name or category or description, can be different for that library material and for that project material, for linked ones. Okay, and then for orphan, all of this information, so a material that's not synced or linked with the library would exist as it does today as an independent record within a process. You have the related records, which are the material attributes, and you can see the history changes, and it will tell you if it's synced or the relationship changes, and list the library material as well. Okay, so now we went through that record. All right, so now I want to show the workflow as it exists today. So if you go to Process Explorer, this is typically what our users do when they need to add a material. They're in Process Explorer, they're building it out, and they realize, oh, I need to add a new material here so that I can specify the information. So if I locate to license the unit operation and I see the material here, if I want to add a new material, you can either add a new one at the project level or select it from the library. And when you select it from the library, this is basically like, I know that this material, I want to pull it from the library to use it in this instance. So either you know that this material already exists and is used in other processes, or you know it's added to the library, or if not, what you can do, so when you press select to library, you'll have this window pop up, and you can go ahead and type in what you're looking for and see, is it already in the library? If not, you can go ahead and add it to the library. You can look at these records specifically, or you can go ahead and select one of these. So if I click next, then it will allow you to pick the preferences, so you can have the material synced or not have it synced. And then the other nice part too is that you can create the library material attributes from the library specifications right when you're adding that library material to your project. So it's nice to be able to do that here instead of having to go back to the Process Explorer and re-add that. Okay, and then, yeah, so that pretty much shows all of the capabilities and features of the library today. We've gotten good feedback so far on it, and we're always looking for more. There's a few more capabilities that we're planning to build out, and that will be rolled out soon. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye.